What up, everybody out there in podcast land? Thank you for tuning in yet again to another episode of Kane and Ross Present the Year I Said It podcast. We're expressing with our full capabilities until they might want us in correctional facilities. Brainchild of my child, I'm the dad half of this operation, Ross Cooper. As always, I am rocking with the best. My co-host, introduce yourself to the folk.
The podcast just went stupid. If you tripping, then you falling. Stupid. uh, hope everybody's having a good week. Yeah, hope everybody's having a good week. And you know what to do. I ask this every video or every podcast show. Do what you gotta do. You know what to do. I'm gonna wait 5 seconds. Go ahead. Do it. Yeah. You did it? Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, let's get started. Let's go.
All right, so we are here. It is March 16th, 2021. It is Women's History Month, still the entire month. Month of March is Women's History Month. March 16th, it is the middle of the month, also the Ides of March. It was a very bad time for your buddy and mine, Julius Caesar. Ha ha ha, joke there. But here's what is no joke. I myself am pro woman. I am pro Black women. I believe women, the future is female. That is my staunch belief. There are things that indicate that the AOCs, the entire squad, Stacey Abrams down in Georgia, pretty much taking an election from the Republicans. There's a lot of things that women are doing. There's a lot of things that Black women are doing. Black women are statistically the most formally educated demographic on the planet. However, there is a serious wealth disparity between Black women and, well, damn near everybody. Goldman Sachs has decided to help change that by investing an insane amount of money, as in $10 billion. 10 billion, that is billion with a B, as in $billion. And then another $10 billion in direct investment capital and another $100 million in philanthropy. That is huge. If you are a sister, if you are a Black woman, that is awesome. I will get into the details and the particulars momentarily as I'm looking at the article and smiling on the inside and out. But Kane, $10 billion directly to our sisters, 100 million in philanthropy from Goldman Sachs, white owned, white controlled, white money, all that good stuff. Goldman Sachs. I know you have a belief that racism isn't going anywhere. I don't know if you think I don't know if you think racism is here to stay or it's going to take a long, long time to go away permanently. But when you hear Goldman Sachs is investing 10 billion in our sisters, what are your thoughts there?
Congratulations. About time. Now, if we can only do that for all Black people, but I'm not mad that it's going to them first because they're the most disrespected human on the planet. So give them their flowers first, let them go first, and then we'll get to us men or as Black people in general. So props to them. I want. What does the 10 billion actually go to, or is not? What is it? What does it mean? Like, is it going to college funds? What is it?
No, it is. Well, let me take a look. Let me get some details for you.
That's a big number, but I don't know what it's directly going to. Like, how is it going to directly affect our sisters? But it's a step.
All right, so going from a direct quote from the article I'm reading from CNN Business, Black women are at the center of this investment strategy because we know that capital has the power to affect change, and we know that Black women have the power to transform communities. If that ain't true, Margaret Anadu, Global Head of Sustainability Impact for Goldman Sachs. If we can make our economy work for Black women, we all benefit. That doesn't directly answer your question, but that just does go to show, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's good. That's good and dandy, but I just want to know how where is that 10 billion exactly going?
It is going to Goldman will partner with Black women-led organizations and institutions. The investment strategy is led by Black women, such as former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice and Walgreens CEO Rosalind G. Brewer. So that's where that's going. Trying to see if there is anything that, but apparently, unlike certain places, there will be Black people in the room, specifically Black women deciding where it goes. So it's to me, it's a smart strategy because it's not like, and I'm no knock to the organization. I don't know enough about them per se. I know there's some rumblings that people have issues with them, but unlike when a company cuts a check to Black Lives Matter, and like here's $1 million, here's $5 million to Black Lives Matter, and they decide, okay, where it's going, right? Who it helps. Goldman Sachs is saying, look, we've got 10 billion. Get the foremost Black women on the line and let's figure out where it's going. So the only thing I do know for sure, Condi Rice is going to be there. Condi Rice is going to have something to say about it. And so is Walgreens CEO Rosalind Brewer. So the bottom line is, based on what I'm reading here, is yeah, they're gonna get Black women and decide where this goes. And it's over the course of time. It's not like 10 billion tomorrow, it's by 2030. So over the course of the next 9 years, but still, that's $1 billion a year. So that's, I think, a huge win in that regard. And it's something that, at least in our communities, we've recognized for a long time now. Look, Black women are the most formally educated for a reason. Some brothers don't see college as an option. Some brothers don't have the ability to be in college. And there's a lot of forces that affect in this country Black men's ability to ascend. And, you know, the sad reality of it is, when it comes to business, if there's a white guy that might be the hiring manager, a Black woman is seen as less threatening. And Black women have been fully taking advantage of that. Now, that does not excuse all the microaggressions and nonsense they face in the workplace, you know, and that's why a lot of Black women are going the entrepreneurial route or doing both. I know a lot of Black women with a quote unquote regular 9 to 5, but they have the side hustle, they have the entrepreneurship, they do the hair, they sell this, that. So it's a little bit of mixture of both, because I can't imagine what it's like to be, you know, in the work environment as a Black woman, because you can get it from all angles there. But yeah, to answer your question, it's not quite ironed out exactly where it's going, who it's going to. But yeah, that's a huge coup. And the other thing is the other thing to keep in mind is there's a ton of Black households that are women led. Again, a lot goes into that. A lot of brothers aren't there for whatever reason. A lot of brothers are incarcerated. Some brothers, you know, couldn't make it work with the parent of their child. So there's a lot of women led Black households. So it makes sense to just simply say, look, the Black women are the solid piece of this puzzle. We invest in them, everything else rises. You know, it's just the same tide rises all boats. My bad, Obama. But we have that there, and it's happy to see. I was looking for the numbers here, and I think I found them. It was stunning. Ooh. Per the article I'm looking at, only 0.5% of Black women own their own businesses. White men are 24 times more likely to own their own business than Black women. Access to funds and investment is a major barrier to successfully open a business, obviously. Black business owners are 20% less likely to fund their startup with bank business loans. So there's that whole bank thing. This does go, ironically, to good old Biden's Lift Every Voice plan, because a lot of that was centered around access to capital. And this is, now, ironically, this is coming from Goldman Sachs. This is not coming from the government. We're still kind of waiting on Uncle Joe to get to lift every voice. My voice ain't been lifted yet. Does your voice feel lifted, sir?
Nope.
You know, but you know, we got to give it a chance. but closing the 90% wealth gap will benefit everyone, study said. Improving the economic condition of Black women and men could add up to 1.7 million jobs and a GDP growth of 2.1%. So there's that, but the numbers are staggering. Study found that, wow, Black women currently make 15% less than white women, 35% less than white men. Like that. Ooh. So you put the money where it needs to go, and clearly it needs to go to our sisters. And I'm glad Goldman Sachs is on board to do that. And it's not just, worst case scenario, even if they had a stake in the company started, that's not a totally bad thing, because you're still talking 1 billion and change a year for the next 9 years, and then 100 million to philanthropic causes. I think this could be transformative. I think we really need to watch our sisters just take this thing, run with it, and blow all the way the hell up. And it's gonna be dope to see. That's gonna be dope to see. Now, speaking of Black women, we've touched on this before, and it played out exactly as I mentioned. Not sure if you caught the Grammys. I personally do not watch award shows anymore, but the internet was all a buzz, and Beyonce got a Grammy. Her daughter got a Grammy. Megan got a Grammy. A lot of Black woman magic everywhere. A lot of noise was made because Nas finally got a Grammy, best rap album. And I guess the Grammys finally allowed some Black people who actually know rap in the room. And you want to lie, but I remember way back when the rap category was pretty much Fresh Prince and MC Hammer, and everyone who loved real hip hop was like, "What is this? What is this?" And I do believe I remember PE, Public Enemy, boycotting the Grammys because it was trash, and I've been pretty much with that ever since. But congrats to Meg, congrats to Blue Ivy, congrats to Beyonce, and congrats to Nas. The question here goes back to something we touched on before. And like I said, comes back to right what I said. We didn't need Nas to win a Grammy to know he gave us probably arguably the greatest album in rap history. Do you think there's a middle ground here? Because it looks like I get the jubilation, but it also looks like, well, I'm official because I've been white validated. Do you think there's a middle ground here of, hey, I know I'm dope, my people know I'm dope, but this thing here, this white award here also validates it further? Or is there, what do you think? Either or, is there any middle ground, any way to balance this out? Or just, look, F a Grammy, I'm rolling with my people?
To me, it's just F a Grammy. But I get why people and artists like to hear that, because once you win one or get nominated, you could just say next to your name, Grammy nominated or Grammy award winning artist, and that's a big deal. And most likely, if you do get that, you can probably ask your asking price for features or shows or appearances or goes up. So there could be some extra money into it. So I get why most actors or entertainers like award shows, especially white ones. But to me, I don't really care because, like you said, like I don't need a Grammy award show to tell me that Nas is dope when you have like Illmatic, It Was Written, and Stillmatic, and none of them won. But Fresh, like you said, Fresh Prince won. But Nas finally wins one to an album I haven't heard, so I don't even know if it was even worth it. So
So stop right there. So stop right there. You have not heard King's Disease?
I heard 2 or 3 tracks.
Sir. Okay. So, Mr. Life is Good is a good album. You need to go listen to King's Disease and you'll change your mind. Okay, continue.
So is it a classic album?
Um, Damn near. And we're talking, and I don't want to go too far off the topic. If we're talking the unofficial, official Nas rankings, of course, top of the top is still Illmatic, or It Was Written, because I know who you're talking to, but I'm still going Illmatic, It Was Written. Um, right beneath that is Stillmatic, and to me, King's Disease. Yeah, it's on par with Stillmatic. It's that good, much better than Life is Good. But continue.
Yeah. Um, Wait. The Jay Electronica's album that came out last year. Now, man.
Jay Electronica's album was nominated. They got it right. Jay Electronica was
I was
nominated.
about to say, honestly,
Royce was nominated.
I honestly think it should have went to either Royce or Jay Electronica, but I ain't hear Nas for. I just heard a couple tracks, but I like those tracks that I heard, so I'm not hating if he won. I'm not upset. I'm glad he finally got his flowers because he deserves it years ago. But whatever. But nah, I don't really care for the middle ground. Like I said, I would just say just if you know you dope, you know you dope. You don't really need validation. Your best validation is how you treat yourself and how you view yourself. So if you think you the shit, man. And most people, most artists feel like that anyway. So, but some artists want the actual validation from our caucus peers, which I don't like. I understand and don't understand. So I don't know. Maybe there is middle ground, or
I
there
mean,
could be.
I think we just kind of stumbled upon a part of this conversation that is nuanced. Um, in our culture, I think and this is just my pure opinion, and you can chime in. I think there's a difference between the artist and the pop star. And here's what I mean. The artist makes art because that's what they want to do. They make art, they want it to be heard. Now, fun fact, boys and girls, if you don't know, probably don't know this, I'm actually a poet as well. I performed many places on the East Coast. Started my poetry career, if you will, in Baltimore, been in New York City, been in New York, been to Philly. Yeah. So I get that there's a space for people who make art because that's what their inside calls them to do. They're artistic inside. And they don't care so much, I would say, about accolades. It's about, did I make a dope album? Did I make a dope project? I think of Prince. I think of Lennon. I think of Marley, where the music has a message to it, and you can tell it's coming from in here, and they just want to get that message out. The money or whatever that comes with it, okay, cool, awesome, great. But they made something with the message. Whereas you have the pop star that just wants to be seen, that just wants whatever they say to be put out there. And, it was the you take your Britney Spears, you take a lot of these boy bands and these creations that are just designed to sell records. And it is not to say they're not creative. It is not to say they're not quote unquote artists, but I believe there's a difference. And when you do things like that, when you are a pop star, first, artist, quote unquote, second, when the label tells you, dress like this, sing this song, we brought in this team of writers, this is the thing that everyone's doing right now. When you are a pop star, I think it's different, and I think you need that validation. But when you are a pure artist, when you make art, whether you get paid $1 million or $10, I think that's where I don't really care about your validation here. And I really wish we could have guests on the show to say yay or nay. But based on that, what are you thinking there? You think I'm on point? What are your thoughts, sir?
You might have a little bit of a point, but um, I don't know. I think some artists um, that even just love the art form want some type of validation as well. But for the most part, they do it for the love and all that. But because there's, like I said, who boycotted the Grammys?
I think that dude, The Weeknd, did.
Weekend did. I think he would fall in probably the pop star type role.
He's
Eh,
trying to be more artsy. Like his whole Super Bowl performance was more on the artsy side. Make a point.
he's getting more
I'm taking
creative.
on the industry.
Yeah, he's getting more creative. I mean, I mess with Weekend, but yeah, I don't really, yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't. I think some like Beyonce boycotts. She's the most awarded of them, and she don't even go to the Grammys no more. I don't think Jay does either.
They were
So,
both there this year because
but
they both. Yeah, Beyonce
oh,
won
she
and
doesn't
Blue Ivy
perform
won.
anymore. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
I think she said I'm not performing anymore. Something like that. I seen something. So I mean, I think you have a bit of a point. to a certain extent. That might not apply for everybody, but some people it does. So
Right.
I can see that.
Because I've never written a poem and been like, yo, this is $1 million poem right here. Like I'm writing this because I'm gonna get paid, I'm gonna get accolades, you know what I'm saying? I've never done that. And I get it. Poetry is a slightly different genre, but
Me too. Like I said, I recently got back to writing. I was looking at some of my old work. I was like, wow, I wrote this. What's wrong with me?
and you can even see the quote unquote poppiness in rap. It's the difference between like my favorite point of reference right now, Toby and Wigwe. If you do not know, listeners, watchers, if you do not know who Toby and Wigwe is, do yourself a favor, Google that brother like as soon as this podcast is over. As soon as you're done listening, go Google Toby and Wigwe. He is a rapper who makes art.
He's an artist
Um,
who
yeah, yeah, yeah,
happens to be a rapper. That's what he is.
yeah. I think you can make that case for Kendrick.
Oh yeah,
Listen to some of this, listening to Kendrick, he makes art. He makes art. It's not just rabbity rabbity rap. He makes art. Three
nah,
stacks.
going to Lucas, all of them, 3 stacks.
Three stacks.
Pop.
You know, that's not fair. Outcast in general makes art. It's stuff that you can put in a time capsule and revisit 20 years from now and be like, wow. Versus, you know, a lot of these cats who are just rap pop stars. Eminem, honestly, you could make a point makes art. Nah.
No, I'm talking about for pop, like he makes pop star like songs. He's not. He's not. I wouldn't consider him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider him an artist that's a rapper. I would consider him a rapper. He's a rapper.
He's a rap guy.
He's a rapper.
He's absolutely a rap guy. Yeah, I was trying to think who's the biggest pop star when it comes to rap, and for everything he is, it is Drake. Yeah, it's Drake.
Drake.
It's Aubrey. It is definitely Aubrey. But yeah, I think it's different for I gotta write this to get it off my soul versus all right, the label brought in this team of writers for me. I just gotta memorize these lines. And I think it's different. I think you need validation there. And again, any listeners, anyone who classify themselves as an artist or pop star or whatever, by all means, hit us up in the comment section. Let us know because I'm willing to listen to the debate. But as someone that fancies myself a bit of an artist, it's like even from poetry in a slam perspective, I've never written a poem. Oh, this is gonna be dope at a slam. No, I don't believe in competitive poetry. So I'm one of the purest artists because I'm going to create, whether it's air quotes validated or not. My validation, for lack of a better term, comes from I'm on stage at the end of the night. Did you dig the poem? That's it. If you buy a CD, cool. If you download the track, cool. But did the poem touch you in some way, shape, or form? Again, I think that's the difference. That's the validation. I don't need the Grammy Association to tell me you're good. Nah, nah. And it's like I said, I'm not trying to poo-poo on Megan, not trying to poo-poo on Beyonce or anyone else. But it's just like you got X amount of Grammys. So you've been dope. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
We don't need a Grammy to say that Beyonce is the GOAT. So yeah, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, I get it though. I get it. Why they want validation, and because like I said, money can be behind that. We can get more money out of it. So that's why I think that's where the main motivation is. But other than that, who cares? If you make dope artwork, you make dope artwork. You don't need somebody else to tell you that. Like you said, your validation is saying that you changed somebody's life. Like I listened to this album, it changed my whole life and perspective on life. Now that's
Right.
validation right there.
And I think in a nutshell, again, this is just my opinion. I think it's the difference between having something to say versus you just saying something. I'm gonna say that one more again. It's the difference between having something to say and saying something. If I have something to say, I'm gonna put that in the art form and put it out there for you. If I'm just saying something, I don't know how much that comes from the soul. I don't know how much that's from me versus, hey, I just got something. I'm just saying something. I hope you dig it. I hope everybody loves it. I hope it gets 5 billion streams. I'm just saying something. Maybe somebody wrote for me. I just want you to dance, or yeah, and then like again, in itself, I'm not knocking it. That's cool, but I just don't. I think it's a difference in craving that outside validation, that official validation. Because you're right, it would be a dream to like. I'm gonna rewind, rewind time a little bit. Back when Big Pun was alive, on his first album, he's got this track, super lyrical, with who? Black Thought. And I remember reading an article in the Source, for those of you old enough to remember Source magazine, the official hip hop magazine for years and years. He mentioned that in making that album, the hottest dude out at the time was Cannabis. That was the hottest dude out. But he actually wanted to go with one of the dopest dudes that nobody was checking for at the time, Black Thought. Now, fast forward to now, Black Thought is like God MC level, But that's to me the difference between an artist and a pop star. Because Pun was on the rise, and it only made sense to do a track with Cannabis because Cannabis was the hot dude. But he was like, let me do this track with Black Thought. And for those of you who haven't heard it, again, I did you another solid, dropped you another gem. Go Google Super Lyrical with Pun and Black Thought, and having them go back and forth, bar for bar. It's like, yeah, that was a good choice there.
Stank face. Yeah.
It didn't fit the Rocky IV sample at the end of it. Oh, that was just cherry on top. Cherry on top. That's suicide. You know how strong he is. You can't win. Like, yeah, that the Rocky IV sample interview was just cherry on top. So a little bit of hip hop history again. But yeah, overall, I think there's a difference between an artist and a pop star. I think pop stars crave that validation more. It's not to say that artists, quote unquote, don't crave it at all. I just don't think it matters either way. I don't think I don't think Barry Bonds cares if he gets in the Hall of Fame. He knows he's probably one up, if not the greatest baseball player to ever live.
I think he cares.
You think he cares?
Yeah, I think he cares.
I don't think Barry Bonds gives a damn one way or the other.
I think he cares. Well, before the steroids, he was already on pace to be the greatest ever. So, and after, he still, because if you just look at his career in a nutshell, and you take the steroids away, he probably is the GOAT. Like, I might take him over
Hank Aaron
and Babe Ruth. But
oh yeah, definitely over Babe Ruth. Definitely over Babe Ruth.
But nah, like I think he cares a little bit. That's like, I'm not in the hall really. I'm probably the top 3 players of all time, and I'm not in the hall because of some steroids. Really, steroids doesn't help me hit a bat. Help me hit a ball that's coming at me 100 miles per hour. You might hit it farther, but it doesn't help me hit it. I gotta still have skill to hit the ball. I don't understand that, man. If you use steroids, who cares? Everybody, damn near. Who cares?
I mean, okay, we went down the rabbit hole here because I was trying to make a point. What I was saying was, I think Barry Bonds. I know you don't, apparently. I think Barry Bonds is comfortable knowing in his head, I'm probably the greatest baseball player to ever live, whether I'm in the hall or not. That's like Barry Bonds knows I'm probably the greatest baseball player to ever live, whether I'm in the hall or not.
That part, yeah, but I think he cares that he's not in it. I think he cares.
I would juxtapose that to say, if Michael Jackson never won a Grammy, I don't think he would care. The art speaks for itself. The tours, you got how many other musical tours did you need medical staff on standby because folks is literally in the crowd fainting? Like, if Mike never won a Grammy, ain't nothing to say about that. Thriller as a video, Bad as a video. Like if he never got the Grammy validation, I think Mike would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, and
so I listened to Bad last night too. I was listening to it, trying to dance and shit. No, damn, I can't dance.
I'm just confused. What? Okay, all right. I just learned it something. Okay.
Yes, I'm bad. You know it.
It's just as Prince noted, the first line will always be like eyebrow raised, like your butt is mine. Like that's how we start the song off. Okay, Mike. But
It didn't age well. That's a different time. I mean, you can say eating a nigga's ass, but you can't say that now. When rappers say that, when cannabis said that,
I mean,
you can't say that now. That's a pause. That's a pause. You can't say
I mean,
that.
but when cannabis said it, it was I guess you're right. It didn't age well, but
you didn't
I
get to
got
ask
the
like you can't
context.
say that now.
Okay, all right. I get it. It maybe didn't age well as we thought. All right. Speaking of white things and white validation, or the opposite of, kind of, sort of, a little bit. Um, Help me out. What is this guy's name in Miami?
Myers
Cause I didn't
Leonard.
know he. One more time.
Meyers Leonard.
All right. So Mr. Leonard, um, white player for the Miami Heat, was playing online, apparently uttered a very, very, very anti-Semitic word in a very bad context, and he has been getting skewered ever since. Unlike brother Nick Cannon, who was trying to make a point and it went way, way left, this dude actually legit insulted Jewish people. And he has been suspended for a week. I think fined like 50 grand, something like that. Um, I find it interesting. And maybe it's the difference in mediums, because it's like, I don't know what you actually could do. But to my knowledge, right? I know factually Nick Cannon did not use that word. Nick Cannon was not trying to be insulting. And his whole world damn near got canceled. This dude pretty much got a slap on the wrist, and then, using my Shannon Sharp voice, came with some bull jive apology. Talking about, I don't know what that word means. That's scary on both ends, because it's either because the way it rolled off the tongue, you're lying, or you literally don't, and you just toss around racial slurs like it's nothing. And either side, I don't know which one is worse there. But punishment 50 crimes to you, sir?
Hell no. He should have been spending the whole year or something, or canceled something. Son
I
got a
mean,
slap on the wrist, and it's not like he said it by accident. Just like, oh, like a typical white person, hey, what up, my nigga? He basically says, "Fuck you, niggers." That's basically what he said. Well, not saying that, but for anti-Semitic slur. So it was like, you clearly knew what you was talking about. You said it out of anger. It didn't just it rolled out your tongue perfectly, like you sounded before. Like that
right.
did not sound like the first time you said that. So he got slapped on the wrist. Deshaun Jackson got worse. Nick Cannon got worse. But I swear, maybe it's just me because I'm not looking at media all the time. But I swear it was a story when it first came out and it disappeared after 3 days. No one cared.
I mean, like I said, to me, either way, it's bad. Either you're lying, or you legit don't know what that word means, or the impact of it. You've been tossing it around like doo doo doo.
Pretty much. Either way, he's been tossing it around. That was not the first time he said that. I'm almost
Like,
100%.
cool. And then I'm like, because I saw the headline but didn't actually deep dive yet. And I was like, I knew that word. I knew it was a Jewish insult, but I also know ain't nobody said that since like 1991. Like, who still does that? Apparently, this guy. Like, really, bro? Who you been hanging around with that still says that on purpose? Like, who you?
Other caucus people.
Or clearly anti-Semitic people. And I'm like, who you been hanging around? Because I honestly think, like, there's levels clearly to racism, right? And your average MAGA racist is, I hate N-words. Typical. But I always found the people who hate Jews a little disturbing. Because this thing of, well, the Jews control this, the Jews control that. And then I'm like, who else said that? Who else had an issue with everything Jews did? I don't know. Some guy by the name of Adolf. So I get a little nervous. I get a little more nervous when people have so much Jew hate. Because I'm like, you gotta really start digging deep and connecting dots. And the Jews own the TV companies and the networks and the this and that. Bruh, like to me, it just takes a lot more effort to be a Jew hater. And I don't understand. Like,
Well, there's
they
something.
always freak me out. The Jewish haters freak me out because it's like, so you really your racism is in the core. That's in you, huh?
There's
You didn't take
something.
the obvious route and hate black folk just because they black. No, you went digging to hate Jews.
There's some things that I'm not fond of the Jewish people, but I'll leave it at that because then we're gonna go down another rabbit hole of why. But yeah, uh, Jew hate it does have to stop, but there's some things where I kind of understand. But it is what it is. He got a slap on the wrist because if it was a black player, he wouldn't have got a slap on the wrist. It'd been a whole big deal.
Well, we don't because again, it's a different medium because you can't do to an NBA player what you did to Nick Cannon. It's a different medium. There is an NBA Players Association, so on and so forth. So I don't think you can go full cancel an NBA player, not for this.
I didn't say cancel like his career is over. I'm saying like
Oh, because they tried to end Brother Nick's career. Like they pretty much just like,
that's
okay, you're
what
gone
I'm
now.
saying. Like a season or more than like maybe the rest of the season or a half year fine, something. 50K in 1 week suspension. What is that going to do?
I mean, we'll see how this plays out later. Well, I don't know. Like I know he better be one a hell of a businessman and so on and so forth because his post playing career, you just poo pooed all over that. You just poo pooed all over that. Like you're whatever you're gonna do after your playing career is over, you just made that a hell of a lot harder, sir. Hell of a lot harder. So you stack your coins and invest well. Because when you go knocking on certain doors trying to get certain opportunities, I'm sure those doors are now nailed shut, which is gonna be because you didn't know what it means. Well, you about to find out how it feels. You about to find out how it feels. Like I said, and it's interesting though because when you juxtapose that, like you said, Deshaun Jackson got put through coals, and they pretty much tried to end Brother Nick's career, and he didn't even say that.
I still don't
You
know
know,
what he said that was anti-Semitic.
I mean, I think it falls under the category of you might have to be Jewish to fully understand it because it's the same thing on our end. Like sometimes as Black folks, we hear like we'll hear white people say, "I don't get how that's racist," and it's like, of course you don't because you're not the offended party. So it's the same thing. Like whatever Nick said, because again, I am not familiar enough with the Jewish faith and ethnicity or race or what have you to know exactly where those verbal landmines are. I do know what your boy from the Heat said is clearly out of bounds. What Brother Nick said, I'm not sure because that's my ignorance and I don't know, how that got turned, how what he said affected the Jewish folks. But I can't say you that was nothing. He didn't say, I don't know. I'm not Jewish to speak on.
But it was more. I listened to the interview. I'm just saying, like it was more anti-white than it was anti-Semitic.
That we can discern.
But I don't see any verbiage or whatever that he said that will even uh, equal to a Jewish person. Like I don't that part. I
And
don't get
that
completely. I
exactly. And that also in mind is the part where we enter, we're not Jewish. Because you're right. I don't get it, but I'm also not, I don't know the touch points. I don't know what like those, like I said, outside of what your boy from the Heat said, I don't know when you cross over into you being anti-Semitic there. You gotta be careful because you don't want to offend. You don't want to offend folks. And the truth of the matter is,
everybody gets offended.
that's one truth as well. But the truth of the matter is, like, look, if the truth of the matter is, if our Jewish brothers and sisters aligned with us, that would be one hell of an unstoppable force. For whatever reason, again, reasons I have not investigated or researched yet, that has not quite happened. Um, the fact that some Jewish people have the benefit of looking like our mutual oppressor may play a part in that because we don't get passes at all. But the long and short of it is, look, between their long-standing historical suffering and our long-standing historical suffering, we have a common enemy. And that old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, you would think, but
They don't really mess with us like that. And
I mean, it depends.
yeah,
I'm sure we have allies in the Jewish community. I'm
uh,
100% certain of it.
I'm sure some, but for the most part, probably not.
I honestly, I can't even say for the most part because I don't know.
I'm taking the educated guess, probably not. But um, yeah, now you made me forget what I was about to say. Yeah, yeah. Never mind. Go ahead. Continue.
Well, I was gonna say, as promised, close out with Coming to America 2. I watched it, you watched it. So for those who are maybe new to the show, don't understand how we do it in scoops, being scoops of protein because we are workout people. So instead of stars, we do protein. And as anyone has ever known, if you scoop protein, if you try to scoop out some protein out of a container, you don't get even scoops. So that's how we can do 0.25, so on and so forth. Um, so first thing up, my overall scoops, this is out of 5, by the way, 5 being like best thing you can do. I've got it at 3.25. It's good, not great. What's your score?
Three and a half. Just because it made me laugh a couple of times. And Wesley Snipes did his thing. Like I said before, I need to see him in more stuff because it's been a while since I've seen him in a movie. But I mean, it wasn't as great as the first one, but I didn't come into it thinking this is going to be better than the first one. I just came into it thinking, I hope this is funny. And it was funny. So I'm not disappointed at all.
Yeah, as someone, couple points that got me is who knew a Jerry curl would be so important. And here's what I mean. For those of us who are old enough to remember the first Coming to America, um, a lot of this was predicated around being a king of the Jerry curl and the soul glow and that whole thing. And it's the reason I think personally Coming to America is Eddie's best work is because it stands the test of time. Like that movie came out in 88. You weren't born until 96. You can watch it and laugh right now. And you didn't live through it. It makes it extra funny had you lived through the Jerry Curl era. But even if you hadn't, it's still funny as hell now. Now, when you took that out, because that thing wasn't present, of course, in Going to America 2. And I didn't know a Jerry Curl would be so heavy. I think they did a great job bringing all the old characters back, integrating them in. I also thought they did a great job of staying on brand with the times without forcing it down our throats. Look, boys and girls, this is a woman's empowerment, time we're in. If you look at the fight scene in Endgame, which I thought was really, really dope when you had all the women characters just assemble and start kicking ass. Wonder Woman. If you look at Black Panther, T'Challa was actually elevated by the female counterparts. Like he wasn't him without his sister, without Okoye, without the Dora Milaje. So you have that there. So there is definitely a theme of women are badass. Let's show their badassery. And I think Come to America 2, as far as his daughter's concerned, stayed on brand with that as well. So there are definitely some parts. The reason I gave it a 3.25 is because the nostalgia factor was really, really high, but the actual plot of the movie, if this you didn't know this movie was a sequel and you look at it standalone, it's just okay. I was not overly impressed with the brother that played Eddie Murphy, Prince Akeem's son. He was good, but
I mean, you don't watch Coming to America for acting skills. You just watch it for the comedy. But I mean, the story was ultra predictable, like you said. Like if you didn't see the first one, you kind of knew what was going to happen anyway. Well, at least I did. So, but I mean, it is what it is. You take it for what it is. It was funny enough for me. I
it's
enjoyed
a
it.
one it's a one watcher. Like I'm not gonna watch it again.
Yeah, well, I watched. I'll probably
Wow.
watch clips of it. I probably won't watch the whole thing again. Probably not.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, it's a one watch for me. I'm probably not gonna watch. It's good to see it. My biggest concern is Eddie, please don't screw up a classic. I don't think he screwed it up. Like I said, the Interesting Pieces, I think it's a standalone movie. It is a sequel in and of itself, but it is a standalone movie. Like you can watch this really not having watched the first one and still get something from it. And like you said, it's great to see Brother Snipes. And I think, this has nothing to do with the movie per se, like the storyline is that, but Eddie did a great job of rounding up everyone. All of the key characters. The only thing missing though was Eric. Now, it would have been cool to see Eric LaSalle, King of the Jerry Curl Soul Glow, somehow get worked in there for a cameo. That would have been cool. That would have been cool to see him and the sister or what have you. But I know some folks, the super woke crowd. I'm not gonna say super woke because that's insulting. I'll say I know some folks are gonna have issue with the conception of the son, and they're gonna go, well, that was male sexual assault. And I'm like,
it was.
Yeah. And it's just like I got nothing on that. You can't tap dance around that. You can't get around it. It's an interesting juxtaposition to have all woman empowerment in his daughters, but the crux of all of this is a sexual assault from 80s. Now, being super USC film school nerdy, maybe it was a case of, hey, this was okay. This type of behavior was okay in the 80s, but not okay now. I don't know, but I do know some folks are probably going to have an issue with that. But yeah, beyond that, I got it at 3.25. It's a one watch movie for me. I'm good seeing that once and not necessarily I'm gonna watch it again. It's probably not going to be in my queue ever again, but I did watch it. I don't think Eddie killed the classic. I don't think there's any other works. I'm not with Eddie himself, but there are certain plots. There are certain things we could see brought back. I don't know how you could do it, but 48 Hours was a classic. Ed Murphy and Nick Nolte, you do that. I don't know if you can redo Beverly Hills Cop. That's just, you might want to leave that one alone. But from a plot standpoint, 48 Hours you could probably do. I don't know who you get to play Eddie and Nick, those roles, but you could redo 48 Hours. You could probably redo The Golden Child because, special effects being what they are, you can probably redo that one. Of course, we just got to be brought up to date. But, overall, like I said, 3.25 for me. Good, not great. Fun family movie, and that was that.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll run it back, recap, and close this thing out. Start from the beginning. Again, shout out to Black women getting their due. I know it's long overdue. I know, honestly, for those who see 10 billion and say, oh my God, that's a lot of money, that is not nearly enough for what our sisters do. Let's be very, very clear on that. That is tip of the iceberg. When you talk about the emotional labor, the trauma, everything that Black women have had to endure, 10 billion truthfully is a pittance. But shout out to Goldman Sachs for making that happen. I do have questions for Brother Biden. Like, this is Goldman Sachs doing their own thing. This is not part of your Lift Every Voice plan. When do we get to that part? Just asking.
After stimmy.
Shout out to the artists who got Grammys. Shout out to Meg, Beyonce, Blue Ivy. So shout out to them. Not want to poo-poo on your parade. Not a decision of yours to make. I'm just always curious about. It's nice. I guess it's nice to have, but do we really care about what essentially amounts to white validation? Even if there's a couple Black folk in the room, essentially the Grammys, Tonys, all that, it just rings as white validation, and we don't need that to tell us you're dope. You've been dope, as you said. We've been new. Beyonce was the GOAT. Miami Heat guy, because I still don't know your name because you're insignificant up until this moment. Leonard, Mr. Leonard, you might want to pick up a dictionary and start learning how the words you use affect people. Because yeah, that was so uncool. That was so uncool. And last but not least, Coming to America 2, 3.25 stars. Good watch with the family because it actually is rated PG-13, so you can get away with it. Good watch with the family, but probably not going to watch it again. Your recap, sir.
Shout out to Goldman Sachs for the investment in our sisters. Like I said, the most disrespected people on the planet, but they're finally getting their just due because from personal experiences, I've been around a lot of strong black women, so I'm glad to see that they get their just due. Makes me proud. Um, Grammys, and like I said, we don't need. I don't think we need a validation to know that Beyonce is the GOAT, Megan is the shit, uh, and people who didn't win the nominee like Rhapsody, even Doja Cat. Like some people say she should have won something, but they've been dope. So shout out to the dope artists that did win, and shout out to the people who don't win, because who cares? But Miami Heat, Meyers Leonard, man, you're a bastard. Like what? Like watch what you say, man. Golly, like stop being so angry all the time. One of those people who's angry, you probably gonna call me the N word, but yeah, he got slapped on the wrist, which is kind of upsetting me, but it's okay. Like you said, maybe it will show up when his career is over that it will come home, it will hit hard. And Coming to America too, I give that what I said 3.5. Yep, 3.5. Pretty funny. Maybe might watch it one time again. I don't know, but it's not the first one, but it didn't need to be. I wasn't expecting that, so it was good enough.
Well, that is, Dion Cole voice. Welp. Um, that is all we've got for this week. As always, want to thank you all for tuning in via YouTube, via whatever platform you are listening on, wherever you get your podcast from. Another episode in the books of the Yeah I Said It podcast. We will see you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Peace.
Yeah.